See, we look at maps as something which is enabling the consumer experience that all of them are trying to create. And we look at it in a very sustainable way. And Vivek talk about the fact that we all overestimate the impact of the technology in the short run, but we underestimate in the long run. So innovation and creation of the future, as we saw, is a sustainable activity, and hence I'm going to take a step back and share with you how Genesis is thinking about this entire journey, and especially the backdrop that we presented yesterday about generative AI-based search and discovery process that we presented yesterday. So see, we look at it in a very first principles and very simple way, the way innovation works. And I'm going to quickly talk about kind of things that are changing, that we are looking at, kind of things that are not changing, because that is also important, and how sustainably innovation could be done, and what do we learn from the people who have done it in other industries. So, this is the most exciting time to be in for a creator or a builder or an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you a simple example of the kind of change we are undergoing. So GPT 3.5 to GPT 4 took 5 months to release, and the power increased by 10x. Jensen Huang says that in 10 years, AI is going to be 1 million times more powerful. Right? 1 million times. Think about that. In few years, we are going to have 100x or 1000x or 10,000x more powerful AI. Elon Musk has put $4 billion in putting 100,000 GPU, 100,000 GPU, and creating supercomputer, which is going to place a tool in your hand and my hand, which is going to be infinitely more powerful, and that changes everything that we do. That changes the way we manufacture, that changes the way we create the autonomous ADAS advanced level, that creates the way we test it, and creates the changes the way we create the new features. In my prediction is that, just so that you appreciate the kind of change which is there, it is all relevant to us. In a few years from now, we will have a single person organization, which will have a valuation of $1 billion, a single person. So the kind of things that a single person can do with these tools is very different. What's not going to change? What's not going to change for me is that I will always be called by the product and engineering team and asked for a lot of features, and then they're going to send me to the procurement. That's not going to change, because that's a market pressure. So the OEMs and the tier ones are always going to need cheaper, faster, and better maps from me.
If you do well, we'll call you to the ET forum also.
Right. Absolutely. So that's not going to change, and we are taking a note of that while through our innovation journey. Now, coming over to how it is done, and it's important for all of us to understand this, and we have done a lot of research on this, how the $1 trillion valuations are created, how the big value is created. And it starts with simple journey. These are my observations. First, common observations amongst all the great companies, successful companies created. First, the founder has faced the problem himself. He has very unique insights about how the value is going to be created. Secondly, he works on execution of that himself or herself. Right? Thirdly, they target the customer love. And mind you, I'm not talking about customer like. You look at iPhone first time users, the people who used it didn't stop themselves talking about it to their friends on ChatGPT. I mean, you can relate to yourself, you want to go and talk about that to your friends, and that is what is the genesis of growth. That is the foundation of innovation and growth for all of us, the customer love. The technology comes after you define that customer success, customer experience. It's an enabler. Mind you, every one of these people were awesome at the technology, but this came fourth or fifth in our journey as we are seeing it, right? So this is what we are learning.
So that's wonderful. Coming to specific on the maps, how do you see the maps aiding or helping us in our journey on the EV front, or even generic automotive front? Because maps are agnostic, instead of they will come to help anybody.
Absolutely. So I'll relate to what I say. Start with the customer experience and work backwards is the learning here. So the customer experiences that we realized the customers are struggling with is the search, which is the basic first interface that you have with the map. So we started our journey a year back when we said, hey, we are going to make this very intuitive. And around the same time, generative AI came. So we now have a very intuitive, voice recognized, natural language, complex and long command being recognized and integrated deeply with the map. And then we are trying to make it easy for the customers. On a broader changes which are happening, humankind is seeing the largest urbanization. India is going to be at the forefront of that. We are going to put 30 million cars onto the roads, and we will need to find the most efficient ways to navigate them. So when I say cheaper, faster and better, for better, we will need to create a safer navigation, we will need to create more comfortable navigation, more convenient, and then of course the electrification and all the other innovations come into picture. So we went and did the same thing which we did for generative AI for EVs, EV navigation. We are now working on some more trends, and again going to the simple first principles, thinking that there are a lot of ADAS cameras which are going to be installed. Maybe every car will have it after a few years. They are going to collect a lot of images as they go on, and we are going to have awesome generative AI tools at our disposal. So how can we create again faster, cheaper, better maps and yet have great margins for us? We are a public limited company for the last 25 years, so we want to make sure that we create value for our shareholders as well.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, thank you. I move on now to Sanjeev. Tell us, Sanjeev.